Let him have his moment. How we doing, Stanley? How we doing? I know you're thinking, what, we're going to talk men's hockey or women's hockey podcast? I know, but we're going to come to that. We're going to come to that. Nordy's here! Oh, we've done it! We've done it! For the first time since 2015, the Minnesota Wild have won a playoff series. I know, you've got to go back that far. And that year was a bad year for me in terms of the postseason. Obviously, my Sharks, did not qualify for the first time in quite a while. Our streak had broke. Get a straight, our streak broke, and it was a streak I think began in the early 2000s. Might have been 2002 or 2003. We hadn't missed the playoffs since that. That was the first time. And it was quite a shock for us. Obviously, back then the Sharks were seen as a perennial playoff contender, so it was kind of a bit of a shock, which then of course led to various coaching changes, captain changes. We also had a bad year that year because obviously we missed the playoffs despite being the ready side. Yeah, you were. That was also huge as well, because I don't think that had happened for quite some time. I think it was probably the first time in my tenure. Yeah, so it was huge. So the last time the Wild won a playoff series was back in 2015, when they won their first round match against Louis, and then they fell to the Blackhawks, to Tommy Hawk in the second round. I can't remember how many games in either series. And since then it has been a lot of hurt for the Minnesota Wild. I would like to forget about last year's series, if that's alright. No, that was a whole one for you. Because obviously, let's say how you were, nor you do well. Also, we've got the Frosty Stars going on. The fact that the Wild managed to get a lead in that series last year was just incredible, but unfortunately, we know what happened. And there have been times where we've had moments in the series being, this is it, technical, and then just, no, it's been a lot of years of hurt for playoffs when it comes to the Minnesota Wild. So, I think anything now is a bonus. I think anything now is a bonus. We are winners this year because we managed to win a playoff series for the first time in quite a while. Against the number 2 seed. Against the number 2 seed in the conference. It's completely stupid, I think this season has shown that our current playoff system, the Stanley Cup, is broken. Especially look at the East. Tampa and Montreal, that should not be a first round matchup. That should be a conference finals. Especially how tight that's been so far. Still confident that's going to 7, George? Still confident. Okay, we'll find out tonight. Yeah, because we are recording this today after the Wild's Game 6 victory over the Dallas Stars. And it was a huge night for Minnesota sports. Not only did the Wild win a playoff series, but also the Timberwolves of the NBA. They also won a playoff series. NBA's in playoffs. Yeah. What's starting next week then? WNBA. No. NBA is currently in playoffs, and next week the WNBA starts their season. Right. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's the Minnesota Lynx in the WNBA. We've had quite a few WNBA wrestlers throughout the PHL this year. We've had Toronto Tempo in the expansion team come on broadcast a few times for Tia games. So, yeah. So, we'll see how it goes. So both Wild and Timberwolves won a playoff series last night for the first time in quite a while. So, well done to Timberwolves there. Congratulations. Yeah. So why are we doing this on our women's hockey podcast? Well, during the game, it transpired that several members of your two-time World Cup champion Minnesota Frost were in attendance of that game, which was a complete surprise. I was not expecting this. I literally saw it on socials during the game that several Frost players were there. They were in the building, so that's really nice. Really great to see. They even had the Frosts Play It Big advert that even happened during all the tea tarts, and so I was like, oh, yeah, so because I think that's the first time since I put a Wild broadcast on that we've had that ad play. I mean, you'd have thought that with the markets the extra markets that got PHL with, you'd have thought they would have been, playing those ads. Because I really have loved to Play It Big. I haven't really seen this on that. I'm pretty sure I've loved to Play It Big campaign this year. I just think it hasn't really been as effective as it could have been. But hey ho. But yeah, several of our Frost players were in the building last night. It was just like a photo on the socials, so I can't really know for certain who was there for definite. But when I saw the photo, I was like, oh my god, wow, they kept that quiet. Bit of a shock as well. Seeing how, tomorrow our playoff series gets underway in Montreal. Yeah, you'd have thought, the team should be there by now. Maybe try and get a practice skating or something, I was not expecting. I mean, if this game was like on the Wednesday, then yeah, fine. Because obviously, it's not still quite a fair few days to go before the start of our series against Montreal. But you think the team always should have been in Montreal? Yeah, that's my thing. There's the photo again. I swear I did show you to it. Yeah, but there's the photo again. We can't really tell for definite who is and who's not in the photo, but there's quite a handful of Frost representation there. Have a look at yourself, Nordy. Yeah. So yeah. Obviously, our playoff series begins tomorrow, May the 2nd, in Place Bell, Montreal. Games 1 and 2 are May the 2nd and May the 5th in Place Bell. So we've got quite a fair few days off between the starts of games 1 and 2. But obviously, the Laval Rocket, they are in the Calder Cup playoffs, so that is also an impact of it. And of course, obviously, the Wild have now advanced to round 2. At the time of recording this, we do not have the second round scheduled for Stanley Cup. And yet, Game 1 of Hatter Series is tomorrow. What? Yeah. Seriously, yeah. Yeah, they've announced that Game 1 of the Flyers Hurricane Series is tomorrow. What? When round 1 could still go ahead? Because if Boston, Utah and Tampa win tonight, that's it. Game 7's guaranteed on Sunday. Yeah. Must be to do with the networks. There must be like a slot available in the networks. And they thought, let's capitalise on that. Could be that, yeah. Because obviously, the way it now works is from round 2 onwards, it's all on the national broadcasters, so there must be a good slot. The AHL couldn't resist, so yeah, it's a bit odd to do that. Start a second round series before the first one has finished, but it has happened before. So obviously our playoff series begins tomorrow, May the 2nd, 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll be, depending on how our game goes, we'll then be jumping straight into Game 2 of Ottawa at Boston. Ottawa at Boston is 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight our time. So providing our game doesn't go to OT, you can just jump from the start. If our game does go to OT, as soon as that finishes, we'll then just jump into Ottawa, Boston, whether that currently is in play. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with the Frost players being there. You know, I mean, we don't really know what the team schedules are. You know, I mean, they could be flying out today, and that wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, yeah, but just thinking if I try to get skating. But I've had plenty of time to practice throughout the week. Yeah, I don't know about that. No, but I'll just say on Montreal's ice. By having attended the game last night, they might not have a chance to then get like a practice in Montreal's barn, which I think they might need, given how it's a bit tough. It's good, tough series. It's good. No, I thought it was great, you know, to have the prospect there, because you know, you want to see the upper sports teams in the city or in the state, you know, supporting one another, not just through good luck posts on socials. Yeah, you actually want to see them in the building. If we go back to the Takeover tour in Denver, we had lots of upper Denver sports teams in the house. We just can't remember them all because there's so many. Yeah, it was like too many to try and recall. Yeah. But yeah, so I agree. We definitely want to see. We definitely want to see players from various different sports. You know, come and support our upper teams with their playoff runs. So it would be great if we could get some wild players, maybe. Might not work with this season. Maybe doing next season we can have maybe some wild players be in the attendance for some Frost games as well, because that would be great too. Just have a connection there. Yeah. Yeah. So isn't it crazy how you've advanced and your next opponent is Bernie? Yeah, I mean, because our pit stop to Denver, it still feels fresh in the back of it. It still feels like only yesterday. And yet here we are now. You are playing the next. I know. Well, I think you go back to when we were at the Singles Tour. We all knew that the Stars and Wild were going to play each other since November. We all knew that was a guaranteed matchup. And I think back in March we were at Denver. You probably think, what are the chances that we might end up seeing them in the playoffs at all? Probably slim, because obviously the Wild's previous playoff history. The big question going into these playoffs was, could the Wild win a playoff series? That was the big question, and they have. Even with Wolfstad, because it was always a bit of a question mark about who's going to get that starting net, and with Wolfstad, and it ended up being the right call. I think he did a very good first round. His teammates need to lend a hand there, particularly with the box. Stay out the penalty box is the best I'd say to the Wild going into the second round, because a lot of the mistakes that were made were done on the penalty kill. A lot of those goals Daz scored was on the power play, and if we just tightened up our discipline, stay out of that box, then Daz might not have got so many power play goals. Yeah, so just stay out of the box, and you need to really stay out of the box, because as I've known from previous experiences when the Sharks have played the Avalanche, the Avalanche are really good on the power play. I've always said, I've said plenty of times on Terra Report, I've always said, when I've recapped the Avalanche Sharks days, I've always said, stay out the penalty box, because Colorado's a team you do not want to give a power play to, because they'll just strike. Especially when on that line, when you're McCarr, McKinnon, Landeskog, you just know. So yeah, so just watch out for that. So that will be my wild bias for the Wild going into the next round. Stay out the box. I think that might be a bias that the Frost could also do as well, because obviously the penalty kill the last few games hasn't really done well either. No. Yeah, so yeah, it does feel a bit awkward now, because obviously, you know, you guys know that we won Denver to land a PHL team, and you know, we had a very nice time in Denver despite suitcase drama. But you know, needs must. Bernie, we've got to send you to the pound. I'm not sure there's a pound big enough for him. Well, we'll make one. Yeah, so for the next at least fortnight, Bernie, you're not on speaking terms. He's actually over there in the corner. He's actually over there. Hi, Bernie! It's not going to be nice the next few weeks, is it? No. Yeah, we're going to have to put Sharky between the two of you there, Nordy. It's not going to be pretty. Nope. He's too busy going raw because we're Ducky! Ducky! taken down. Ducky has slain the king and queen of Edmonton. Wave goodbye to Conor McDavid. Bet yet, trade deadline 2027. He's off. He's off. I said it. I said when he signed that contract extension. I said that is him putting the Oilers on notice. If you can't give him a Stanley Cup within the next at least 2 years, that's it. He's going. He's going. He's going. Okay. So wave goodbye. Wave goodbye to him, Edmonton. You've let him down. You've absolutely 100% failed him in his career. So get ready to wave goodbye. Then Leon Draisaitl takes over as captain. And then he's probably thinking, oh God, I've now got to steer this sinking ship. Yeah, so right, but we wanted to do a quick episode now, just to mention obviously the Frost players were at the game. It was a really, really great game. I think that easily could have been a shutout last night. I mean, I think Wolfsdad did play good. Again, his support system, I don't know. The other players, I'm not sure what they're supporting him. But honestly, those empty netters just seal the deal. I mean, obviously, Baldy just wow, brilliant one. That was just the sequence of that one. Yeah, it was brilliant game last night. It's been a brilliant series. I mean, we all knew going to start this. We all kind of were in it for the long haul. None of us expected it to go beyond. Sorry, none of us expected it to end in a sweep or 5, especially after we got the first game. Yeah. After the first game, you kind of knew, yeah, this is not going to be a quick series. You just knew, especially when Dallas then tied it back up. Yeah, and we went back to mess up with a split result. And then they got Game 3 in quite heartbreaking fashion. Yeah. That was the double OT result. Yeah, that was the double OT result. Yeah. And obviously we had to then do games 4 and 5 on the split screen. Yeah, we had to do games 4 and 5 on the split screen, because obviously, they were on the same day as Frost games, so we had to have the Frost on my tablet, and then the Wild game on the telly. Yeah, but we all knew this, it was not going to be a quick series, and I've got a feeling that this next series with the Avalanche is also not going to be a quick series, because the Colorado are a really good rock-solid team. But I do think there is a chance, guys. I do think there is a small chance that Minnesota could potentially get to the conference finals. Because you look at the history, Minnesota's won 2 of the previous 3 meetings. The most recent one was in 2014, which the Wild won. If you look at this year's regular season series, both teams got split results. Both teams got 2 wins each. And each of those 2 wins, one was a hefty result and one was a close result. So, I think, especially if the Wild can play like they did in Game 1 again, so if they can take Game 1 again, then it will make a very interesting, and you could see there's a chance that we might, yeah, so I think if we play like we did in Game 1 again, then there's a chance. I'm not ruling it out. I'm not ruling it out. I mean, I've been in the game long enough to know when anything can happen, when an upset's on the cards. So I'm not ruling anything out. I mean, so yeah. So I think there's a chance. There's a slight chance that you could be seeing the Wild in the conference finals. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But for this team, just incredible. So, the only downside to winning last night is, of course, how is this going to affect us? And that's how we'll end it on. Yeah, that's how we're going to end it on. So, yeah. So, games 1 and 2 are in Pluto in Laval on Saturday, May 2nd, and Tuesday, May the 5th. Game 3 at Grand Casino is currently scheduled for May the 7th. Yeah. And then games 4 and 5 are still TBDs. And I think Ottawa and Boston still TBD? Yeah, Ottawa and Boston's game 5 has still not been confirmed. Right. Okay. Yeah. I still don't get why Ottawa and Boston series has got TBDs. I mean, ours understandable, because obviously the Rocket and Wild were the primary tenants, they've still got playoffs. That's understandable. But for Boston and Ottawa, that should be no problem, especially how Ottawa, are playing both games 3 and 4 in Canadian Tire. But Game 3 is scheduled for May 7th, but they said that could be subject to change. But I'm thinking, will it? Does it need to be? No, because round 2 will begin next week regardless. Because obviously, if we do get any game severance of round 1, they will take place on Sunday. Okay, so you're looking at Monday at the earliest being the start for round 2, and it will depend on the. I think May 7 is still going to be fine for us in terms of game 3. The question is, when do you schedule game 4? That would be the question mark. Yeah. Laval series. Laval playing TO in the division semi-finals, the Cold Cup playoffs. That series, if it goes to 5, that will end next Friday, May the 8th. So we will not have to worry about that. If it goes to game 5, yeah, for our series, yeah, although it depends, yeah, unless it depends on what happens with Laval as they get through, yeah, then it goes to the dishwasher, yeah. Yeah, it's basically play it by ear this time, right? This time it's basically play it by ear. So the only downside to that is, could Nordy's schedule then affect our schedule, and now it's then go on a massive tirade. Yeah, I think it should be fine. I think game 3 definitely should be still guaranteed to be May 7th. It's just a question of when is game 4 going to be, and will we have to do split screens? Yeah. It was not easy on the last regular season having to do split screen for both of our last 2 games, but it was needs must. It was needs must. If we have to do it again, we have to do it again. It's fine, because as you guys know, with Stanley Cup this year, I am only watching the Wilds games. Yeah, I am not watching anyone else. I have no interest. Yeah. Okay, you know the PW is my number 1 priority in life, especially in terms of talking right now. So basically, was the Wild are out, that's me done. Yeah, and I will just check highlights if I so please. Yeah, but obviously, Wild all Wild Pearl games. I am watching like last year. Yeah, like last year, because last year this was the mindset I had last year. Like, right, I'll do Nordy, but that is it. My focus is on Oz. Yeah. So it's exactly the same again. Yeah, so it's exactly the same as last year. Once Nordy's gone, that's me out. Yeah, and I will only then watch highlights if I so choose to with the remainder of the series. Yeah, and so forth. Yeah. So we've got at least another round guaranteed of Minnesota hockey. First, this is probably going to be the. I was about to say, is this going to be the first time in history that the Frost and Wild have Pearl hockey at that same time? Because wasn't last year? I think it is, because I think by the time last year's World Cup Pearl started, Nordy was already out. Can we confirm that? Yeah, I think right. Yeah. I think this time when last Pearl started, Nordy was already gone. Yeah. The Wild failed to qualify in 2024, so the Frost's first year as a franchise. They did not qualify then. That was the season when Nordy did stupid tactics to try and get the points. And I was like thinking, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you playing at, Nordy? Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Putting the netminder in OT? Are you mad? Yeah, that was just. And who knew it was a rule? None of us knew that was a rule at the time. None of us knew. Not me, not these two, nor the East crew. We had no idea that was an actual rule, that you can pull the netminder in OT. It's just, obviously, if it backfires on you, then you don't get the point that you would have got for an OT or OT loss. Yeah. So that was just, that literally had my head scratching in that there. Yeah, so just need to confirm this. Was Nordy a wildcard team last? Sorry, was Nordy a wildcard team last year? Yeah. Okay, right. Just try to look at Yeah, the Wild were a wild card team last year. Oh, there we go. Right, got it now. Right, got it. May the 1st was when the Wild got eliminated. So no. So no. The Wild players did not start then. Yes, so this is going to be the first time that both the Frost and the Wild have playoff hockey going on the exact same time, which is brilliant. Yeah, incredible. So if you've been to a Wild playoff game and you were experienced White Side of the P-Dub, then absolutely get yourself down to the Frost playoff games. It's just absolutely just a roller coaster. Yeah. And it's a heart-attacking moment as well. Just for you. Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Are we even ready mentally tomorrow, or I don't know? But us two are really just not happy about Montreal. Yeah, you two have felt sick all week. All week in the run up Saturday. These two all week have been feeling like sick because obviously Montreal dared to pick us, even though we knew it was going to happen. So to me, the fact that Nordy's been in the playoffs, that's obviously distracted me from having to think about it. Yeah, but it's all week these two have just been like, just nah. No, because it is going to be a tough season for us. We have not won a game against Montreal this season. We've only ever won one game in franchise history in Montreal, and that was last season. And we are struggling to think of the last time we actually beat Amré Desbiens at all, in any fashion. It's going to be tough, but we have faith in them. It's just basically like it was in season 1. Okay, league champions pick us. Let's go and make them regret it. We did it to Tia in year 1. We can do it to Montreal again in year 3. I just feel like they got all the momentum Montreal because they generally feel like they can beat us. And not just beat us, but also sweep us. Oh, not happening. Not happening. Not happening. Not happening. If you think that we're not going to fight for that crown, you can think again. We are not giving that crown without a fight. You can think again. Okay? So think again, Victoire. Think again. Okay? So, and of course, Captain Clutch is back in the lineup. Yep. So, yeah. It's going to be tough, but we know we can do it. We know the best. Well, the beauty of the Minnesota Frost is that when it comes to the big moments, they find a way to step it up. We've seen it in season 1, of course, last year in season 2. So, who says it can't happen again in season 3? Who says it can't happen again in season 3? But it's going to be exciting. So, both Minnesota teams in action, playoff action still. That's incredible. Could be exciting. Obviously, when we get the Wild's full schedule for round 2, I'll post it on my Instagram like I did with, and also my Blue Sky like I did with the last round. Hopefully those will come over the weekend, and then and then we can see if it will affect, because we are still, at the time of we are still waiting for games 4 and 5 of our series to be confirmed. Obviously that will now depend on what happens with the Wild schedule. So we got that might then make it clearer. I can't see a reason why they would move May 7, because Nordy's starting on the road. Yeah, the Wild are starting the series on the road, so that's games 1, 2 out. So if you start the second round next week, then no, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. But great to see Minnesota Frost players in the building for the Wild game, and we just need to do a burst of that next year. We need to do that next year. Get Nordy there! Get Nordy! Or have some Wild players like, Marcus Bellino or Matt Balding. Someone. Just get some Wild players in the barn, and we can see them showing their support to the Frost, just like the Frost shows their support to the Wild. Right, okay, well, thank you so much for joining us always, and until next time, take care, don't get spoiled the breeze.